Welcome to another episode of Two Drink Maximum, the show about two drinks and nothing more. I am Chase Baxter, your host.
I am Shane Byerly, your other co-host.
We are coming to you almost live from the Muse Rooms
Live-ish.
Live-ish. The Muse Rooms in Hollywood, California. Very exciting show for us today. We have a wonderful and talented guest, Chris Page, who is an actor out here in Los Angeles, California. He has the distinction of performing at the Baby Raptor Experience in Universal Studios Hollywood, as well as playing Hamlet on stage, reading for Shakespeare and all that wonderful stuff. So, Chris, welcome to the show, and
Hi,
please
Chris.
tell us,
Hello.
what are we drinking today?
We are having some Juneshine spirits. It's Trader Joe's is where I've been able to find it most effectively.
Good old Trader Joe's.
And it's super tasty. They've got like a tequila margarita. They have a tequila margarita, a vodka soda, vodka mule, and was that it? Oh, the mango tequila margarita. And they're all super tasty. I think that they actually taste like a mixed drink in a can versus like, oh, this is a soda with alcohol, something like that.
Right.
They absolutely do. I have the vodka mule in front of me.
I have the passion fruit vodka soda.
And I have the tequila margarita.
How are they respectively for everybody?
Gents, let's give it a try. Let's give them a shot.
Sippy.
All right.
Ooh, that is tasty. And you're right. That doesn't.
Does it taste like an actual bar?
Yeah, that does not taste like it came from a can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What I like about the tequila margarita is it says sea salt and natural flavors, and you can taste the sea salt. Like often I feel like with margarita stuff, you can taste the sugar.
Yes.
With this, it's like two shots of tequila, sparkling water, orange, lime, sea salt. Very simple ingredients, and you get pretty toasty.
Nice.
You will end up pretty toasty at these. That's
like two of them.
That is
Yeah.
the one thing I will say. Like this tastes like there is as much alcohol as described on the can.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, pay close attention for later in the show. We'll see how we do.
We'll see how it goes.
We have to do more editing on the back end of this
we will.
podcast.
Absolutely
What is
will.
happening here?
So I want to jump right into it, Chris. You are an
Okay.
actor in Los Angeles. That
Yes.
one is incredibly difficult. But first, I want you to explain to me what the Baby Raptor Experience is.
Okay, so the Baby Raptor Experience at Universal Studios, I am the Raptor trainer, aka kind of the character that you see in Jurassic World as the Raptor trainer, and I have a small baby Velociraptor instead of the big
The full size.
dino Velociraptor, like Blue.
Right.
Blue in Jurassic World is a large dinosaur, 10 foot tall, 14 feet long creature suit. And then I have the smaller dinosaur, which is only about 2.5 feet long, 3 feet tall. I work with both. We also have a big Triceratops, but the baby itself essentially is a living puppet creature, and it confuses a lot of people.
What are your responsibilities as the Raptor trainer whenever you're there?
So my goal is go out on set and act as though I am any other trainer that you would see at a zoo. Because Jurassic World is a world. It is a theme park in itself. So it's like going to the Dallas Zoo or whatever. I'm from Dallas, so that's why I reference the Dallas Zoo. But it's like going to the Dallas Zoo, and if an animal trainer came out with a sloth and said, this is our sloth, and our sloth's name is Timmy. And Timmy is an awesome sloth, and here's awesome things you should know about sloth, right? That's how my job is described to me, and what I have to do when I go out is I'm convincing you that I am now an animal trainer here at Jurassic World, and this is my animal. And then I get to talk to you about it and talk to you about how we train our dinosaurs and things like that.
Wow.
So in doing that, you're controlling a little puppet that's in your arms.
Yeah.
What challenges does that present because you are performing, like your face is there, you're talking to people as an individual, but you're forced to play two characters in that particular moment.
Simultaneously.
You have to be you, and then you also have to be operating this puppet. So like what kind of brain power and efforts does that take?
I used to be in the Big Dinosaur. So the Big Dinosaur, two separate brains in that as well. Because even though you don't see me, I'm still inside going.
You're still a person in the suit.
I'm driving the truck, right? So I
Right.
have to pay attention to all the surroundings. It's kind of like driving. At the same time, though, I know I can hit my blinker and turn without thinking too much about that.
Sure.
So as they look at me, they see two separate individuals. And my goal there is to just try to be as separate from the dinosaur as I can while she's sitting in my arms, while we are one unit creatively.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. And I would imagine that doing that style of performance is semi-unique in the sense that it's improv, and every performance you're giving to every person or small group you interact with is different, right? It's no 2 days, no 2 groups are the same. And so it's like you're constantly evolving what you're doing there. Does that feel like a different challenge per se than something like Hamlet that's a lot more structured and certainly less interactive?
Right. Yeah.
Could you do Hamlet while holding a baby raptor?
Yes. Yes.
Could the raptor do Hamlet? That's the real question.
The most fascinating thing to me is, like you said, different groups offer different experiences. We had a group that came in and they were literally laser scientists. There are people who work with SpaceX and NASA, and it was a buyout for the park. And this group comes in and since it's a buyout, they hire different characters. So they hired me to come in with the baby. And so, pardon me, the June shine.
That's how you know
they will
it's good.
also make you burp.
Yes. So I go up and I'm interacting with these scientists. Now, these scientists are very smart people.
Yeah.
They've also seen the most advanced engineering. They've seen the most advanced artificial intelligence.
They're on the cutting edge.
They have most likely seen something far more advanced.
If anybody's going to make a real dinosaur, it's probably these people.
Right. Or they're going to know the person who does it.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, I do lasers, you do genetics, we're BFFs, high five. I don't know. I assume that about the scientific world.
MIT.
They're all friends.
Things of that nature.
They're all friends.
Yeah. So but I'm interacting with them, and the fun thing about that is, many of them, oh, it's fake, blah, blah, blah. And then she snaps at them. But she snaps at them while I'm talking to another scientist here.
Right.
And then they go, oh, that got me.
Yeah.
And then they go, what science is this? So then I had a scientist come up and literally go, so does this thing have like proximity sensors? Like how is she? Because each time he would reach, I'm looking at his friend over here, but each time he would reach, I could see it out of my periph, and she would react, and I could see him and the other scientists just like trying to figure out what kind of advanced technology
a little kid.
is in this rod and hand puppet, like hand and rod puppet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's literally just a puppet with a rod inside.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a certain type of puppet, and he is mind blown and trying to figure out what it is. Does it have these proximity sensors? I don't know that any of the scientists that I met that night actually believed I had a dinosaur or an animal in my hand.
Right.
However, I would say for the most part, 30% of the people that come and see that dinosaur, possibly more, absolutely believe that I have a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram conversation.
They have to seriously consider whether or not someone has actually cloned dinosaurs and brought them to this park.
Like maybe Universal did it and they're holding out on
Did
us.
they really do it? Did they really do it?
That what you just said, I will
Somebody
not be
asked
able to
you?
find it because it's probably way down in my. I had a person, I did not know them, but they sent me a message on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they friended me on Instagram, and they said, "I need you to be honest with me." That was the first thing they said, and I said,
Say what?
Listen, man.
"Listen, man.
I've been out there.
Clearly, you're on the inside track here.
Yeah,
You tell me if it's a real dinosaur. I need to know."
That's what he said. He basically said, I need to know. I know Universal has money, and I know
This
that
poor person.
Yeah, but they're like, Universal has money. They have resources. The science exists. Do they have real dinosaurs? And was that a real dinosaur you were holding? And I had to go to my team and go,
Can I tell this person the truth?
can I respond to that? Oh, I wasn't going to tell them the truth. I never tell. You are literally the first people I've ever told the truth about what I do.
Yeah.
Outside of the people that already know because they work with me.
Right.
They were so gone.
I just left them in the dark.
And
then they
Which is going to reaffirm that if they believed it's real, they're going to be like, you can't tell me. It must be real.
Yeah.
right.
They got
And
real dinosaurs there at Universal.
I had another person, do the same with. I've had multiple people message me about. I share stuff on my story about the different things I do at Universal. So people will ask me a question like, "Is that you?" And I might say something like, "I know that character well."
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of like, if they don't get it after that, I'm sorry.
Right. I can't handle
You're
it.
just gonna have to know that.
How question? This is just a random question I have. How tight is Universal as far as their character etiquette? Like, is it similar to Disney? Because Disney will be like, you can't step out of this.
Disney
zone
has like a
without-"
rule book that's
Yeah.
80 miles long of things that you can and can't do and say. And
It kind of depends on the character. We do have to stay within a certain area.
Yeah.
We can't cross IPs. So there's a lot of IP stuff. If Universal owns the IP, then it's not as much of a big deal.
Right.
Like Universal will be like, hey, try not to walk into there with that. But if you absolutely have to because you got to get there to get to break, or you got to, you're in an emergency or whatever, don't worry about it.
Right.
They don't want to
go.
see. They don't want to see a dinosaur trainer, a transformer, and Harry Potter smoking a cigarette on a break somewhere.
They don't, but I do.
I do. I do as well.
Hell yeah.
Those are the backstage photos you never see.
The thing I think that's kind of neat about the baby raptor thing is, you said 30%, may be confused, like, is it real? The other probably 70% are falling into that category of magic. And what I mean by that is, we all know that magic isn't real, but when you watch like a David Blaine, or when you watch, sorry to break the news.
Hold on.
But when you watch like a David Blaine, what people are really responding to is, I know that it's sleight of hand trickery, but the fact that you did it so well and it was done right in front of my face, I can't believe it. And so I think most people know
you can invest.
Right, that it's you or that it's whatever, but it's that gray area of, but I don't know how it's accomplished. And so it has this magic feeling to it.
It might as well be real.
And that's
got to
be a rewarding feeling, I think. Like,
that's what I tell the people that ask me, do I enjoy what I do? Yes, I love it. One, the kids just light up. It's amazing. They're just fascinated by the dinosaurs, or they're scared, and it's cool to like kind of give them that courage to interact with the dinosaur. And that's my job.
I'm so envious of any young child these days with all like the media and entertainment they have.
So it's so amazing. But the really cool thing is when I can get a grown human to feel that same awe that they might have felt when they were 7 years old.
Yeah.
And they saw Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
When they were 7 years old and they saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator, whatever, a character that they believed in and they loved, they do that with the dinosaur.
Yeah.
And if I can create just that amount of awe in an adult, it's just not something we get every day.
No. Not at all.
As we learn that, Santa's not real, and all those other things.
Whoa. Sorry, kids. Sorry, kids.
Listen, we are breaking a lot of magic for you guys.
We're a lot of hard facts, hard truths coming out.
Santa's not real.
Well, no. Creating awe is definitely.
We just ruined some child.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, kids. Don't.
Or potentially some adults that are not very
have really lived a sheltered life. Yeah. But creating awe is kind of your business, right?
I mean,
so just transitioning a little bit. To me, there's acting.
Yeah.
Then there's Shakespearean acting.
Yeah.
And then there's Hamlet, which to me is the most difficult performance, I think.
That's
right in
role.
Shakespeare, right? It's especially for men. I mean, what is that like? I mean, first off, I think a lot of people who are unfamiliar with acting, the first question they probably always have is, how do you remember all of those lines?
There's that. I would also ask, tell us about the role of Hamlet.
Yes.
How you secured it, what was involved there, and all that stuff.
So where I went to college, one of my instructors was Riley Coker. She's now the head of the theater department there. She runs Oklahoma Shakespearean Festival. And Riley actually lived out here for a while. And then when she inherited Oklahoma Shake, she moved back to Oklahoma. Then fast forward many years later, I've been all over the country. I've been here acting in LA. I put in my audition for Hamlet. I saw that they were doing Hamlet. I had a chance to do it in college and really wanted to revisit the role because I've done a lot of growing. And I went, I was bad. So I was like, I would like to do this again because I think it will only help. So I put in the audition, and luckily they were, again, it's such a cool program. They had offered all of the contracts back to individuals who they had offered contracts to before the COVID shutdown.
Oh, wow.
Because this season was their first full season back from COVID. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So from 2022 was last year?
Yeah, 2022.
I have COVID is just a big, horrible blank space in my brain.
Anyways, sorry, you were saying.
No, that's it. So 2022 was last year. So whoever they had offered a contract to, they re-offered contracts to. And the Hamlet could not return. And I got very fortunate. I put in my audition, and I put in my audition a little late. But I know Riley. She watched it anyway. And I had actually put in, they did Beauty and the Beast as well. So I had auditioned for Hamlet and for Lumiere because I was like, I would love to revisit both those roles. Yeah. Hamlet for the what I think I can bring to the role now, Lumiere because Lumiere is just super fun.
Because
so I would love it. Oh, let's go.
That's the only reason.
So I auditioned for Hamlet, got Hamlet, and it was cathartic and it was amazing. And there were a lot of people that I really looked up to.
Was this particular version of Hamlet presented like as is in the text, or did y'all do any kind of adaptation or modernization?
This was an adaptation.
Okay.
So
what was changed about it?
There were 3 Hamlets.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm in. Okay.
Fascinating.
We started the production at the end of the show. So you start the production with everybody's on stage, and Hamlet, the 3 Hamlets, are dead center stage. Spoiler alert. Hamlet dies.
Right.
I can spoil it now. Well, spoiler alert, it's been 300 years.
You get a week.
Hamlet dies.
Hamlet dies. Yes, he does. Yeah.
You get a week, and you've had, again, 300
week?
years. You get a week.
A week.
Dude, a week is a...
I give 2 weeks.
No.
I give 2
lifetime.
No. Here's no. Proper etiquette for a current movie.
It's a week.
No. Is no. Proper etiquette for movie spoilers is the home video release. If it's out on home video,
That's months.
Yeah. So Hamlet dies.
Yes.
And that's where we started. We started all 3 Hamlets dead on stage. My Hamlet wakes up. Another Hamlet wakes up. As we wake up, we kind of traverse the stage. And the characters that exist on stage are all the characters in the play. They slowly fade into the back. And then there's this interesting, the Hamlets are speaking different parts of the play from different times in the play.
Yeah.
And then you kind of slowly enter this like from the beginning to end
Y'all
progression.
really went at it, huh?
Where so it's like where the play starts and goes to the end. Now what was amazing is our director, it was Riley, and she is a brilliant actor and an amazing director, and really lets you play, lets you have choices. And so one thing that she really never did was tell us, okay, here is exactly what this play means, which is great because we have 3 different Hamlets. So there's the idea that you go with, well, one Hamlet is id, one is ego, and one is superego.
Yeah.
Based on the lines each Hamlet is given, some of the lines are a little more like, this is strictly instinct. Like this Hamlet is just driven by, this is the Hamlet that is going to go and stab a king.
Yeah.
And then you go with this other Hamlet that goes, but what will happen to me? What will happen to me?
Yeah.
And then you have the Hamlet who goes, but what will happen to everyone else?
Yeah.
And so you have that id, ego, superego idea. The way I approached it specifically, just for me, and I don't even know that I told this to any of the other 2 Hamlets.
Hamlet secrets.
Yeah, and that was the other fun part was like watching these other Hamlets and watching them interpret, and then kind of acting off of their choice and using my choice. It was so fun. And my interpretation was, when they say that you die, they say you relive your life, right?
Yeah.
You see your life flash before your eyes. Whether it's a spiritual thing, whether it's your brain is doing some crazy shit and you are zapping through your life and memories really fast, your brain's on hyper mode trying to find any answer to survive. Whatever the explanation is for this, it's a thing. Whether it's lore, right? But for me, I went with that. I said, what's happening here is you're seeing young Hamlet, who has just died, re-experiencing his flashback for the first time. And then we had a kind of a female, I don't want to say middle-aged because she was like 20-something, but her Hamlet was a little more mature. And so I was like, this is the Hamlet who's relived this death cycle 10 times.
Right.
And then my Hamlet, I was the oldest of the 3 Hamlets. And I had kind of I didn't have the young shaved boy Hamlet because Hamlet's a boy, right? I had my gritty facial hair and some longer hair. And I said, I think that my Hamlet is the Hamlet who has lived through this moment. While it may still only be an instant in real time, what you're watching for me as an audience what you're watching is my Hamlet is the one who has relived his death and rethought and lived through his life
Has the perspective.
thousands of times.
You're the old man Hamlet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thousands of times. And now you're watching me do it again.
Yeah.
And so there are moments in the play when there are lines that my Hamlet was given that I said, he knows what's about to happen. And he's saying this line because he's recollecting it. He's also going, man, that's something I regret. That's something that was bad, So there's the Ophelia scene where, Hamlet, there are all kinds of interpretations about what he's doing in that scene. But him and Ophelia essentially get into a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just yelling at Ophelia.
And he's yelling at her and he's abusing her and mistreating her. And my Hamlet in that scene chose to, get thee to a nunnery, go, is a famous line.
Right.
So
thee to a nunnery.
Yes.
You can't say that to anybody anymore.
you can't. So the young
Because
Hamlet.
nunneries aren't a thing.
Right. And
Well, they're just called churches.
Yeah.
right. Well, there's also the some people believe the nunnery was brothel oriented.
He was calling her a thought in the olden tongue.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, the young one does that. He's saying, get thee to a nunnery, go. And like that could be insulting. He's in his moment. He's in his element. The middle one is contemplating and working through it and figuring it out and going, oh no, I was wrong here. And then mine is just going, just get away from me.
Yeah.
Get away from me.
I'm tired. I'm done with this.
No, get as far away from me as you can. I'm not in my right mind. Those other two are not in their right mind. Like save yourself. Save yourself from me. I know what's about to happen. You're going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad. Yeah. So that was kind of like it was really fun.
You got to find your own way to it. I mean, some of
Yeah.
the most celebrated actors of all time, right? Laurence Olivier, Kenny Branagh, right? I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, they've all done Hamlet and they've all talked about
Did you just call him
Hamlet.
Kenny Branagh?
We're close personal friends. Kenny,
All right.
Me and Kenny B.
Kenny Branagh.
I'm sure he would love being called Kenny.
Yeah. He seems like a
Anyway.
cool dude. My point is, Hamlet is a beast of a role to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got to find your own way to it. So it's fascinating to hear your process.
Yeah.
Chase, do you hear that?
Well, what I hear is
The sound of empty cans.
it sounds like we've about wrapped up drink number one.
That's exactly right. We need to take a quick pause.
Exactly. Quick break, and we'll be right back with drink number two and Chris Page. Thank you for listening today. We're having a really great show. If you want to keep up with us online, you can follow us on Instagram at 2drinkmaximum. If you want to send us an email or possibly be a guest on the show or maybe have your email read on air, you can email us at 2drinkmaximum@gmail.com. And now, time for drink number two. Welcome back. We have drink two queued up here with Chris Page, talented actor here in Los Angeles, California. My second drink is going to be a tequila margarita, personally. Shane, what do you have queued up for
I've
yourself?
got the mango margarita. I've always found that margaritas are good enough, but if you throw fruit in there, they're equally as
They're
good. So,
even
yeah.
better.
Yeah, they're even better. Yeah.
I'm the same. I got
You also
my
have mango?
mango tequila margarita, no sugar added, which is nice if the sugar really is the reason for the hangover. That's nice. And again,
That's what they
like
say.
super simple ingredients. 2 shots tequila, sparkling water, mango, lime, real tequila, real juice, ready to enjoy.
I am not
They're brilliant.
usually a margarita person, but this does taste suspiciously like I have a glass of salted margarita in front of me. So you're absolutely right.
And you know what they say?
June Shine did some taste calibration on this, and it's amazing. But what do they say?
Better ingredients, better margarita. Papa Juan's.
Papa Juan's. Have you had the Trader Jose's beer?
They have
No,
a
I've
beer.
not.
They have a specific
Ooh.
beer for Trader Joe's.
Yes, it is Trader
Jose's,
Jose,
right?
Trader
and
Jose's.
they have a like a light kind of Corona, and
Okay.
then they have a dark kind of Guinness-esque like beer. And the dark, I'm not a like a what is it, an IPA?
Craft
I love
beer.
IPAs.
It's not an, yeah, I can't do like the light ones. I have to stick with like porters, stouts,
Yeah.
things like that.
Gotcha.
Problem is, I've realized I just can't do beer at all anymore because if it just happens to be put in an oak barrel at any point,
Oh, yeah, you
I'm allergic to oak.
have an
Oh.
allergy.
So I can't do
Okay.
whiskeys. I can't do unless it's in. I think someone recently said something about some things are done in like cherry, and I'm like, okay, well if it's in a cherry barrel, I guess I don't know. I don't know a lot
You
about.
just have to be that specific about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
Is
be a
your
little
beer
picky.
from a cherry barrel?
Yeah.
Is it French oak or Spanish oak?
Yeah.
That makes
Oh,
a
yeah,
difference.
does it make a difference for you?
Yeah.
We wanted to move on to some more questions for you. We obviously have some examples of your experience in performance, but I wanted to know why you navigated towards why you moved towards performance as a career. So I wanted to know, like, what was the first thing you ever acted in?
The first thing I ever acted in was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Ooh.
And I was Snoopy.
Nice.
What was it like playing Snoopy?
A complete accident. It's a strange thing. I grew up watching movies. Single mom, spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. My grandparents had this room that specifically had one of those big, like, on the shoulder home video recorders.
Yeah.
So then they had all these like home videos, but because they had home videos, they also had the VCR that did the recording and you could transfer from VHS to VHS.
Right.
So then they also would record stuff. They had satellite because they were out in the middle of Oklahoma, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a truck driver. He used that money to buy a gas station, and essentially the only gas station in this small town of 200 people. He became the fire chief for the area. Very popular guy. So anyway,
Wow.
so they had this room. They had satellite because that was the only way. There was no cable.
Yeah. You're not getting cable out there.
Right. They had power. They had a septic system, but they had this VHS. They did a bunch of home videos. So I was actually fascinating. I was used to being in front of a camera.
Yeah.
As a kid, and I was watching Jim Carrey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was watching Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis, like all these like action 90s heroes. And then you had like all the comedians, you had like Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy and just these people that I was like, wow, this is really cool. But never in my mind, like, it was so far away. Like Hollywood and movies, it was weird because to me it didn't exist.
Yeah.
It was a movie. So
Yeah.
even the idea of being an actor in the movie wasn't real enough, right? It was strange. Like I was going to be a marine biologist. I kind of like cycled through chef to marine biologist to other things. Marine biologist is what I had finally settled on. And then I was in math class, and I was always kind of a class clown. And I was in a different school every year. Because my mom was moving around trying to find work, single mom.
Sure.
So from like 3 years, for 5 years old, so that's first grade, right?
Yeah. First year.
Ish.
Yeah.
I was in December, so I was late. Into school. So anyway, first grade, all the way to 7th grade, I was in a different school every year. Had to make
Wow.
new
what
friends.
was that like? Yeah, I was going to say, you're making
Every
new friends
year.
every single time.
I mean, I would say that one, if you made a mistake, you knew that it was gone the next year.
you were good at
It was a fresh start.
That is true.
So there was kind of this, like, you could reinvent yourself every year. The other thing was you had to kind of learn the culture of the new school, and you kind of had to learn, okay, how can I fit in with these people? So I feel like that ultimately I became the class clown because that was the easiest way to always like make friends, was be the funny, goofy one, right? And so I did that, and then fast forward to 10th grade, a classmate of mine, Katie, turned around and she said, "Hey, our Snoopy just quit the show. And will you be our Snoopy? You're kind of goofy." And I said, in my head, I went, okay, for my first play ever, and I thought about Charlie Brown. And I was like, Snoopy doesn't talk. I was like, so let's do it. Well, unbeknownst to me,
Snoopy has a lot of lines.
Snoopy has a lot of lines in that show.
He's
And he's
important
got
lines.
his own song.
Yeah.
And I had never sang in front of
He's
anyone.
the Hamlet of Charlie
is.
Brown.
Snooplet is Snooplet. Snoopy is the Hamlet of Charlie
Snooplet,
Brown.
yeah.
That's Snoop Dogg's son, Snooplet.
Yeah, Snooplet, yeah. And then his wife got pregnant again with Snooplicates.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What did we just create?
I don't know.
Snooplet.
Snooplicates.
Yeah.
No,
Sounds like a bit of clothing to me.
I did the show. I had so much fun. I'd actually broken my arm in basketball.
Ow.
Well, and the other reason, here's the other fascinating thing. I was in Texas, and Chase, as you know, you have to play sports.
Sports is a must.
It's a must.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I played football for a few years.
You
I
were
played,
a boy. What are you doing? You're playing sports.
You're playing sports.
That's
You
it.
Must. So I was.
Period.
I'd finally made first string, all the football, first string stuff. I was doing really well in football. I was doing okay in basketball, but I broke my metacarpal on my left hand in football, and that was after I had broken my rib in football. And my mom said, I can't afford. I can afford football. I can't afford football and all the medical bills that you are accruing.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't afford the injuries you're accruing from football.
From football. So she took me out of that and put me in I was in PE. I just no more sports.
Sure.
And I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't really like sports anyway. I want to be a marine biologist, not a professional football player. So that's fine. Well, getting to PE, one day we're playing basketball. I jump up, get flipped over, break my wrist.
Oh.
So then I get into this show, and the theater director enjoys me, and he says, I'm taking you out of PE. I'm putting you in my theater class.
Yeah.
And that was it. Plus, my family was not, while my mother moved a lot to try to find work, she was trying to find work. Mm-hmm. So very poor growing up. This gave me the chance to travel. I got to go to New York.
On somebody else's dime.
On somebody else's dime. I got to go to New York. The school paid for us to travel to these national competitions.
Yeah.
Right.
So I qualified for nationals every year, and I wanted to. And part of the reason I wanted to was, one, I wanted to succeed at what I was doing, but two, I knew I got to go someplace cool.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
what was like,
Trips are fun.
yeah, it was so amazing. So I got to go to Salt Lake City. It was the first time I had ever left.
Yeah, Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
You're probably the only person that said, yeah, Salt Lake City.
For all
Yeah,
the Book
but
of
it was-
Mormon fans out there. Yeah.
But it was the first time I had ever left the like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas area. It gave me everything that was missing at the time, or that I even didn't know was missing. I went, oh,
I found my thing.
I found my thing. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Because the truth is, that's a gift, dude.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to experience that. So the
Right.
fact that you did, and you got to experience it a little bit early in life,
Yeah.
that's awesome. It really kind of puts you on the right path,
Yeah.
you know?
So
Yeah.
I would ask, what hopes and goals do you have for the future as far as your acting career?
Oh, I would love to get theatrical representation again. I've been through a couple different agencies. I've booked some films. I've done 10, 12 films since I've been out here. Like,
You did. What was
awesome.
the international one you did?
it was called The Cabin.
Yes.
Yes. And it started as a night in the cabin.
Sounds ominous.
It was a Swedish
does.
film.
Okay.
Swedish film. Swedish.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Johan was our director. He was amazing.
Can I make a guess?
It became The Cabin.
That guy is incredibly attractive, I bet. I think that in Sweden, they just don't, like, have you ever seen an unattractive Swedish
comment.
person?
He's in the film. So
No, that was the writer. You
Oh,
saw
that
the
was the
writer.
writer. Forget
Yes.
it. I don't know the director.
The writer is the
I can make a comment on the looks of the writer, but I can't.
the writer
just-
is an antagonist. He was the antagonist in the film.
I'm just saying, you've never seen an unattractive Swedish person. I don't know what it is. Like,
You know, I would say that everyone there was pretty attractive.
Yeah.
Like I didn't meet anyone in Sweden that I went,
no,
no thanks.
no thanks. Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have a pretty good proclivity for like, that's a handsome guy.
Sure.
Like, I'm like, oh, that is a handsome guy. Everyone there, like, there were some people that I was like, wow, that man is beautiful. Why is he doing,
Yeah.
why is he editing films?
Why is this
He should be
beautiful
modeling
Swedish man an
clothing.
editor?
Do you remember
Yeah.
that the opening scene of the movie 300 where they take the babies up to the cliff, and then if they're not going to be like warriors, they drop them off? I think they do that in Sweden.
They do that in Sweden.
They can just tell. They can just tell you're going to be
Are you
like, you're going to
blonde
be
and
stunning.
handsome? Yes.
There's
Welcome
this-
to Sweden.
I can't remember what it's called, but there's this tradition they have where they eat this fermented fish, and it is it smell. I mean, we were on set at a farmhouse, and they had just done that tradition, and they had a trash bag like tied up, like they tied it closed, and they had it off to the side.
Yeah.
You could tell they had it as far away from the house as they could get it.
I think the best
Let's put this
explanation
outside.
for what it smelled like is just saying what it like fermented fish.
Yeah, fermented
Whatever
fish.
you think that smells like
Yeah.
It
is accurate.
is bad.
For anybody who is a member of the Jewish community or has Jewish friends, if you've ever been introduced to gefilte fish,
Yeah.
that is the most pungent, awful,
Yeah.
like fish and oil type thing. So so if you're unfamiliar with the Swedish tradition, if you know gefilte fish, I imagine
Probably.
in the ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah. So we walked by that, and I would say it's probably the first time in my life that I have like just been walking down the street and then went,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
like I just had that immediate reaction. And
Gag
what I was going to say
reflex.
is that's what they do with their babies.
Yeah, I think so.
The ugly babies go there.
That is the only reasonable
really.
explanation for why. Yeah.
I mean, I can't account for any unattractive Swedish person that I've ever met. So
You don't. You don't. They move them
not
to
to
one
my
neighborhood. They
recollection.
don't let them leave. I think that's what they really do. Yeah.
You have to stay in this house. Don't talk to anyone. And also, you're not from Sweden.
Yeah. There's just a community with the walls that
You're
are like,
from Norway.
Yeah. If anybody asks you, you're Finnish. Yeah, is that clear? Is that clear? Yeah.
You're from across the no.
The cold apart.
That was the cabin, and it was a blast. And
Right.
the crew was awesome, and I had so much fun.
But let me ask you a question though. For those, not that we're trying to scare anybody off, but you've obviously
Don't move to Los Angeles.
you've come here and you've done quite well for yourself, and you've still got quite. What would be any advice that you would have for anybody who is listening to you and is inspired
Future
by your
actors.
journey? What would be some pieces of advice you wish somebody would have given you before you moved out here
Always.
and wanted to do what you do?
Don't.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No,
That
actually,
can't be it.
And we're
No.
done. Good night.
yeah, and over. No,
Stay young as long as humanly possible.
no, I highly recommend taking the jump, taking the leap. I would say I've even thought about like creating a class around something like this, just to kind of help people.
LA orientation type deal.
Yeah, and when I was back,
That would be awesome.
When I was back at Oklahoma Shakespeare Festival,
Yeah.
I did have a few of my fellow team members there, fellow actors, people going, I want to come out to LA. And I'm like, all right, let's go sit down and have a chat. Because it's
Let's talk.
Number
Yeah.
one, don't yet.
Yes. and I can't just say do it because I would almost feel irresponsible.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, I had about like $2,000, I think, in my bank account. I slept in my truck.
Bless you.
I slept in my truck for a week. I luckily had some people that I knew already out here from, again, traveling the country and getting to know people and doing gigs like that. So I had some people that had moved out here that I was able to kind of like, oh, I'm going to jump into this new apartment with them. The thing that I think would be the big thing is don't expect to have your very own place with your very own, all the privacy in the world, and expect to be able to like kind of lightly work and then be able to do all the acting stuff you want.
Yep.
If I were to give advice to someone who was coming out here, it would be, one, save up, at this point, $7,000.
Twice as much as you think you need.
Twice as much as you
Whatever
would think you
the
would need.
first number you establish, double it.
Double those reserves. Yeah, for sure.
Roommates.
Yep.
Roommates. Live with roommates. Just do it. Just find a way to know how to live with roommates. And to me, that's a skill all on its own. And if you can master that skill, you're also just going to be better at dealing with people in general as a whole in life.
Yeah.
So get roommates. That'll save you money. Then you don't have to spend 80 hours a week working so you can afford your rent.
Yep.
Then you can spend, at least what I did, we had a 2-bedroom apartment with a living room. We split the living room in half. We put up a privacy curtain.
Nice.
We put 4 guys in a 2-bedroom. Now, at the time, rent was much lower. My rent was about $300 a month,
Wow.
which means,
It's incredible.
which means I could work one private event as a whatever, make my $300, and that was my rent for the month.
Yeah.
I could work another event
Nice, dude.
as whatever character or whatever they needed me to be, and I could pay my car bill, and then I could work my other events and pay for my LA casting, my Actors Access, my Casting Frontier, and all those different subscription services that became a thing. And then the rest of the money was money to make sure I could eat and make it to auditions and do my thing. I also I could work a part-time job and survive, which meant my other part-time job was looking for acting work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was my most successful thing, was just making sure that my living expense of rent wasn't making it so that I couldn't pursue what I loved.
Yeah. The classic standard is waiter, right? It's a part-time job but
You
there
couldn't do that out
what do you
here.
mean?
You couldn't just be a waiter. Like, just be a waiter.
No. What I'm saying is,
thrive
like, that is the part-time job that a lot of aspiring actors and actresses get
Yes.
It's flexible.
to hold them over.
Yeah.
Is there another job that is like a lesser-known secret of like, oh, this is the other
Theme park.
theme park?
Mm.
There you
Park
go.
work. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, and especially at Universal. I mean, it's unionized. So they pay well. Is the work guaranteed? Not always. that can kind of flip flop. But
it is what it is.
yeah. But I would say that like me working at the theme park was part-time enough. There's Lyft and Uber.
Right.
If you have a hybrid or an electric car, Lyft and Uber. Now the game has changed since I came here.
Yeah.
I came here in 2011. So I just Lyft and Uber came along. I jumped on it because I was like, that's
Right.
part-time. what I looked for in a job was, is it good money up front? Like, can I make money fast? And is it flexible enough? Am I replaceable?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be. Because ultimately, this is not where I want to be forever. You know, if I'm going to go into a career, in a corporate career, I want to be irreplaceable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want this to be my forever job.
Right,
And
right.
I want to accrue the benefits and the insurance and the whatever and the 401k. And I'm trying to make it so that I stick around and continue to get raises and climb that ladder. But as an actor, that's the sacrifice you make, is that security is gone. So, okay, I did the waiter. I did Lyft and Uber. I traveled with another company that Chase and I work for, where we travel and build bikes and do kind of communication events. That's where I met Chase.
Yeah.
And like any job that I could go, I can't be there today. And they go, all right, we got someone else. Don't worry about it. And that means that audition pops up. I can go, I'm going to go to that audition. Let me call into work.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was, hopefully my bills were covered and I didn't have to go, well, do I give up that $300 today or do I go make that $300 today?
Yeah.
I give it up for that audition.
Yeah.
And I go do that audition.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
awesome.
again, the game has changed now because you can film that audition at home.
Yep.
You don't necessarily have to miss work. You can film that audition on your break time. You have your lunch break from work. All right, we'll bring a
Let's
change of
do it.
clothes.
Let's get the Zoom out and we'll do it. We'll
yeah,
film it.
yeah. Have a friend, have a buddy at work who's on the same lunch as you. Film it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do whatever you can.
Just
to
get a
that job.
sheet, hang it up, and you got a neutral background and go. Just film it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that that would be my tips. That would be my tips for anybody who wanted to come out here and do the thing now.
I mean, you make it sound completely reasonable, and frankly, you make it sound attainable.
Thank you.
Right, which is awesome because
It is. It is attainable with the whatever level of work you're willing to put towards
That's
it.
the awe and magic that I'm very practiced in providing to people.
Yes.
is the awe and magic.
indeed. That should be like your nickname in quotes in the middle.
So Chris Awe and Magic Page.
Awe
there
and
you go.
magic. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I have a question. If anybody wants to keep up with you and your work, where should they navigate to online to check out Chris Page's amazing talent?
At Chris Page 87.
Okay.
That is my Instagram.
Born in '87.
Yep.
Shout out.
And it's ChrisPage, no I. Chris
Okay.
Page 87, the regular page. And then
And if you've listened to all this and you don't want to follow him,
You should. He's a terribly fun person.
come on now.
ChristopherLeePage.weebly.com. That's my website. I didn't pay for the Weebly because I pay for Actors Access and LA Casting and all those other websites that you have to be a part of as an actor. But ChristopherLeePage.weebly.com. That's my website if you want to go see some stuff about me. And then
And then also currently you're working
Yes.
for a company on City Walk. What is that?
Toothsome Chocolate Emporium. I'm Jacques. So right now on social medias, if you look up Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, there's the one that just opened in Hollywood. It's getting millions of hits all over the place.
People know it because
People
the
will know
advertising
it.
campaign is like a blitz.
Yes, Toothsome Chocolate Emporium on Hollywood. If you see a robot costumed guy, again, I would love to be like another career thing would be like Doug Jones. I would love to be a Doug Jones. You don't recognize me on the street, but you know my work because you've seen my amazing characters. I can still go grocery shopping, and only hyper fans will recognize me.
You know who has the one better career than Doug Jones? Dan Castellaneta.
See, I have no idea who that is.
Homer.
He's Homer Simpson. He's
Exactly.
the voice of Homer Simpson.
And that's perfect.
You do not know that man.
That's
but when he
perfect.
calls for a reservation
I
at
know
a
that.
restaurant with one tweak of the voice, he's the most famous voice that you've ever heard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's that, and then you can always Christopher Lee Page on IMDb. I'm the only Christopher Lee Page. If you just type in Christopher Lee, I will lose.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us
Yeah,
today.
man,
This was
thank
a
you.
wonderful conversation about acting and performance and all the amazing things you've done. And yeah, that's just great. Any other, like, what's one note you want to give or one inspirational moment or inspirational comment you want to give to actors out in the world?
Oh man.
To put it in words, if you had
If you had one statement to any actor on the planet.
to be or not to be,
Oh, what should they be?
yeah, or not
What's
be.
it, I would say just it's hard. I don't want to be Shia LaBeouf and say just do it. But just know that it's hard right now. It'll be hard later, but it'll also be good. It'll be good later. It will pass and new things will come, and just keep going. If you just keep going and keep chugging away, you'll meet new people, and over time your work you'll start to see those benefits, and it's never immediate. It's never immediate. You will start to meet new people, and as long as you're nice and kind and professional with everyone you meet, the work is going to come back to you. Always will.
Super sound advice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to the Muse Rooms.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you to Catfish Seminar for once again letting us use their awesome song as our introduction. Check them out on Instagram and all the socials and Spotify and Apple and all that.
Absolutely. It's at Catfish Seminar, and this song is called The Stone Age Man. It's a wonderful song. So thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Till next time. Cheers.
Now I gotta get back to my cave real soon, but I'm feeling kinda lost, just like a buffoon. My only GPS left are the stars in the sky. Well, little Betty's there in the cave alone, and there ain't no way to text her on her iPhone. A mastodon was hanging around our cave just last night.